Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Car Things, and today I'm going to be showing you a method that I do for taking off decals off Hot Wheel cars. So this is an example that I have right now. You can see that there is no decals on this car. It looks pretty good. So I'm going to show you the way that I get decals off without messing up the paint and making the car look just like it came from the factory. First thing you'll need is obviously a car that has decals on it. So I'm going to be using this Datsun 510. I love this car, I love the color of it, and honestly the decals not so much, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove these. The next thing you'll need is your dry erase marker or Expo marker, which I use specifically, but you can use any dry erase marker. So we're gonna go ahead and get that out. Then you'll need a paper towel to wipe off the dry erase marker, and then some toothpicks to clean up some of the decals after we wipe off the Expo marker. So let's go ahead and get started. In order to get these results, you have to be very patient. If you rub too hard, you can actually damage the paint of the car, and we are going to try to avoid doing that. I'm going to show you how to carefully take off all the decals off of the car and make it look just as this one that we have here for an example. So we're going to go ahead and start with getting our car, and then we're going to get our Expo marker. When you start doing this, all you really need to do is just put on a small layer of Expo marker on top of the decal. Remember, you don't want to put too much, you just want to cover the first layer. And then you just let it dry for a little bit. Once the Expo marker dries, you'll grab your paper towel and you'll go ahead and wipe it off. You need to do this a few times in order to get the perfect results. So we're going to go ahead and just keep layering it on and keep wiping off until we start seeing the decal come off. After doing this a couple times, you'll start to notice that once you rubbed, the decals will start to come off. So here we have most of the decals off, but there is still some few spots that we missed, right? Here you can still keep putting on the Expo marker and wipe it off, or you can get a toothpick and easily clean this off. So I'm going to show you how the toothpick also helps with this method. So all you have to do is just scrape a little bit off, and you can see that the decal comes right off. And I like using the toothpick because it can get into those crevices where the decal can be and the Expo may not be able to reach when you're using the paper towel to wipe it off. Now I don't use the toothpick for too long because after some time it starts to get a little dirty with the decals on the tip. So after I use it for a little bit, I will switch it around and I use the other side. So grab our paper towel, we'll go ahead and wipe it off. The toothpick also helps with getting some of the Expo marker that can get stuck in some of the small places. And And there we go. We can kind of see that we've gotten one side already done compared to what it looks like here, what it used to be. Now this is what it looks like after using our dry erase marker. So we're gonna go ahead and do the top now and do the side. Now you can go ahead and just keep wiping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to remove the decal. However, when you start doing this, it could ruin the paint of the car. So we're just gonna go ahead and wipe away multiple layers and not wait for it to dry, but just keep going at it. Now this depends on the car, because some cars, like white cars or yellow cars or even some lighter colors, when you do this and you rub multiple times in multiple layers, it can actually damage the paint. For this car, it seems to be okay. And so it doesn't seem like we've damaged too much of the paint. And now we see that we have these little bits that are left, and we're gonna go ahead and just clean them up with our toothpick. We're gonna move on to the top. The good thing about dry erase markers is that they easily wipe off from any surface, and they're not permanent. So even if you get some that go on the window or something like that, they easily just wipe off. I've been doing this for probably about a year already, and I've tried different methods. I've tried using alcohol, I've tried using nail polish, but the one method that for me that I worked out is using this dry erase marker method. And I can't tell you how many times I've messed up cars because I was impatient or I didn't realize that rubbing it too much could actually damage the paint underneath. Something that you can also do is you can get a different color Expo markers, so like red, blue, they have green I believe, and you can use those to match the color of the car, so that can avoid you making less mistakes on the car and will not leave any kind of like marks left over from the Expo marker on top of the paint. The dry erase marker dries pretty quickly, so you only wait a few seconds before you start to wipe it off. But you can already see that doing 2 pass-throughs or 3 pass-throughs or so, the dry erase marker already comes off. And we're almost done. The last part of our decal. You notice that I don't put it on anywhere else. I only just put it on where the decals are. And that's it. And then once we have our little bit left over, I'm gonna go ahead and get a new toothpick. We're gonna go ahead and clean up these spots that we've missed. And you also don't have to rub too hard. You can just rub very gently and it'll come off. In some places where the decal may not come off, like maybe in this corner over here, it may not come off or so, you can just run through the Expo marker one more time and it will loosen up that decal so then you can easily scrape it off. And there we go. all the decals completely taken off from this car. And it looks identical to this other car that we have here that I showed an example of in the beginning of the video. And I honestly love taking decals off of the cars because I can actually add on my own decals or just leave the car plain, which for what I like to do, I actually like to remove decals from most of the cars because I like the plain look of the cars. I like the simple look. If you really enjoyed this and you like this, drop a like. Give me some suggestions on some other videos that you'd like me to do. But I'm very glad that you were able to enjoy watching this video. Until next time.